Thanks for joining us on CBSN. I'm Vicente Arenas.
And I'm Vladimir Duthier. The entire Northeast is preparing for a potentially crippling snowstorm heading this way. A state of emergency has been issued for New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Massachusetts.
The governor of Connecticut announced on Twitter that the entire state will have a travel ban effective starting at 9 o'clock tonight Eastern Time. Connecticut is one of the few states which will take the brunt of the storm, potentially seeing as much as 3 feet of snow expected in some areas. The massive storm stretches from New Jersey all the way up to Maine.
Yeah, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio spoke about the storm just a short time ago. Take a listen.
This will most likely be one of the largest blizzards in the history of New York City. I'm asking everyone to understand that and to prepare accordingly. This is not going to be like other snowstorms. It is going to be, by all indications, worse, and people have to be ready. We are today issuing a winter weather state of emergency, and we will be taking additional actions this afternoon to secure our roads and our city, to make sure our people will be safe. The priority right now is anything related to the safety of our people. And I want to emphasize throughout everything you're going to hear from us that we want to put safety first in all we do. And that comes down to the decisions of everyday New Yorkers. People have to make smart decisions from this point on, careful decisions, recognize this as an emergency. It is not business as usual. And if my fellow New Yorkers join me in doing the smart and safe thing, we are all going to get through this okay. We have great first responders, great agencies ready to do what they do to keep us safe. But it's up to all of us to do the smart thing, get off the roads, get off the streets, get off the sidewalks as this emergency deepens.
So we just saw Don Dahler, CBS News correspondent, walking through the newsroom. He is doing a story for the evening news this evening about the preparations that you just heard Mayor Bill de Blasio talking about. So Don, what did you see out there?
Yeah, I literally just walked in from shooting all over the city, and people are taking it seriously, which is what the government officials are really desperately trying to make them understand.
That language they're using makes us really know that they're very serious about this.
Yeah, when the National Weather Service uses words such as life-threatening and historic, people are going to take it seriously. We saw lines of people out front of grocery stores, hardware stores, that kind of thing. The interesting thing about life in Manhattan, I know both of you know this, is that a lot of people don't stock up food.
Right.
You have maybe enough for one day, 2 days.
Yeah.
But your apartment kitchens are small, your refrigerators are small, and we eat out a lot, right?
Yeah.
Well, they know that a lot of restaurants are going to be closed. It's going to be difficult to get around anywhere. So people are stocking up there. The sanitation workers union told us, we did an interview with the head of the union, and he said that he's going to have his workers out there, everyone they can put on the line, basically. It's going to be working 15-hour shifts, and they are going to be plowing a specific route, but then they go back and they fill back up the salt bin in the back of their trucks, and they go again. And he said, you know, when we hear about a snowstorm, it's no big deal to us. When we hear a snowstorm that might have 2+ feet of snow, he said it's a completely different operation in the city. I mean, it's very, very difficult to move snow around narrow streets like you find in New York City.
And you, Don, you lived through Sandy, and that was really devastating. I think a lot of New Yorkers were taken aback by the effect that it had on the city because, as you say, people expect that it's New York City. We live in sky rises. We're not going to be affected by these types of storms. Are these first responders taking this into consideration, the lessons learned from Sandy?
They absolutely are, and every one of them mentions that. In fact, I talked to a fellow on the street who was just lined up waiting to go to the grocery store, and he said, yeah, he said, I don't know if it's going to be that big a deal, but then again, I said that about Sandy, and look what happened there.
So, you know, the thing is, you lose electricity in these things, and so then you have to have non-perishable items. Did you have a chance to look inside the grocery stores at all to see what the shelves look like?
Yeah.
And what did you see when you were in there?
A lot of empty shelves.
Yeah, no bread, milk, some of the first things to go.
Yeah, and you know, they take normal scheduled deliveries, these grocery stores. They also have a limited amount of storage space in the grocery stores, so they can only stock so much. And there will be no trucks on the street tomorrow. In fact, as the mayor said, they're probably closing down all the major arteries in and out of the city, Long Island, etc. There will probably be no train service. There's going to be limited, if at all, subway service. So people are going to have to, I hate to use this term, but shelter in place till we're through this thing. Now, they think it's going to ease up late tomorrow, but still, that's a period of time where we're not used to having our freedoms hindered like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Well, it can be very dangerous. That
Yeah.
the mayor and a number of other officials, the governor, have said this is an issue where people's lives are in danger if you get out in the street. The power lines are going to be laden with ice. The trees are going to fall. There could be no electricity. So they're saying this will be one ferocious storm, and everybody really needs to be careful.
You know, the last one, I've been through 2 of these now, in 2006 and in '96. And in 1996, we got so much snow that Madison Avenue was completely closed down, and I actually skied down Madison just so that I would have that story to tell someday. I skied down Madison Avenue. And in 2006, the same thing, the city was completely shut down.
24, 25 inches back
26.9 inches,
26
and they're thinking that there's a chance we could get more than that this time.
If we can find that old video of Don Daler skiing down Madison Avenue,
doesn't exist.
I guarantee you we will
We'd
show it on
all
CBS.
be watching, that's for sure.
Don Daler, thanks so much for
Sure.
updating us.
Well,
Appreciate
thank you
it.
so much. New York City is right in the crosshairs of the blizzard. Marley Hall is braving the elements for us out in the city right now. Marley, how bad is it at this moment?
Well, Vicente and Vlad, as you can see, it has already started coming down, but this is nothing compared to what we'll expect for later tonight. And
So
as
Marley,
you
sorry,
know,
we thought we
the
might have had
worst
your
of the
story, but
storm-
yep, sorry, go ahead.
The worst of the storm will be at about midnight tonight, and that will extend into Tuesday afternoon. Now, the National Weather Service has issued a blizzard warning for a 250-mile stretch of the Northeast. Now, here in Manhattan, I got a chance to speak to a number of people, and they are preparing for the storm. Many of them off to get groceries because they expect to be holed into their homes for at least a day or two, and they want to make sure that they are prepared. But many New Yorkers tell me that this storm is coming pretty late in the season, and hey, compared to last year when they dealt with the polar vortex and sub-zero temperatures and multiple storms, they say they're not that phased and they're ready for it. Vlad, Vicente?
You know, and one of the interesting things about where she's standing, for people who aren't from New York City, and if you're watching from across the country right now, Columbus Circle is usually just packed with people, pedestrians everywhere. And as we saw behind her a moment ago, and I don't know if we can take another peek behind her from that live camera, there's no one out right now.
Yeah, Marley, can your camera guys swing around and see, and are a lot of people going into that shopping complex there at Columbus Circle, or is it starting to thin out there?
Well, there are a number of people out and about in the snow, but definitely less than usual. If we take a look to my left here, you'll see a number of people. They're going into the stores that are just across the street in addition to the hotel. And we're standing here in Columbus Circle, which is a park area. And there are a number of people here too going into the park. And people are going about their normal business, but as the weather gets worse and the wind kicks up and the snow intensifies, that will be a different story, of course.
It's going to deteriorate this afternoon. And just a moment ago, we saw a guy on a bike go
I just
right
saw it
behind her.
right
So
behind
there
you
are
there.
still people moving around in New York City right now, but there are other states like Connecticut that are supposed to take the brunt of the storm. Many northeastern states are just really battening the hatches right now.
Exactly. Marley, stay warm, but I suspect you're going to be doing a lot of live shots over the next couple of hours and into the early evening. So thanks very much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, she's at Columbus Circle. All right, the snow is impacting work in the nation's capital. Lawmakers are having trouble making it in, so the House has announced that it's canceling all votes scheduled for today. Those votes will be rolled into tomorrow.
Meanwhile, the United Nations has also announced that offices will be closed at 2:30 this afternoon. That's 2:30 Eastern Time, and will remain closed until tomorrow.